Trying again. All right. Well, hello and welcome back to another Wisco Fanatics Wednesday. Um, Probably not the worst thing that we're going to start off talking about Game 6 and 7 of the Bucks while we are distracted by the currently ongoing Brewers game.
Yep.
I could use a little distraction from Game 6 and 7, but um,
Yeah.
Jake and I are going to talk about Game 6 and 7. So we got to do it. It happened. They happened. The games happened. The Bucks lost Game 6 and 7, just like they beat Brooklyn in Game 6 and 7 last year, to win that series and move on. Kind of unfortunate for the Bucks that the likely hardest series that they face happens in the second round for the second year in a row.
Yep.
But ultimately the Bucks just kind of ran out of gas. But we're going to talk about Game 6 and 7. And then we're not going to spend a ton of time on those. We're going to pivot to a handful of things we want to talk about that comes to basketball. So we want to talk about there being more to the game than scoring. Also, defensive philosophies. All these discussions, it seems easy and, it's simple. Do this and this won't happen, but it's not that easy. So Jake and I want to talk about it as the Braves are probably going to take a lead here again. Yeah, there you go. Braves got 6-5 lead now. All right. Well, let's start with Game 6, and let's run through Game 6.
All right. Well, Game 6. I really thought that they just took the lead. I'm a little behind Tyler, so after he says something and I see how it happens. But Giannis was incredible in Game 6. I want to throw that out there.
Yep.
44 points, 20 rebounds, 6 assists, 14 of 30, which is actually very efficient. I saw people talking about how, he wasn't very efficient. 14 to 30 is horrible. And when you look and you broke down his shot chart, he actually took a ton of shots outside of the paint because of how they were defending him. Even if he was just in the paint, as many times as he was getting hacked and scraped across the arm and pushed to the ground, and 14 to 30, under those circumstances is
Slightly
still
under 50%. I mean,
yeah, still impressive to me. The Bucks just plain and simple couldn't shoot. And this was a trend that happened for 2 games in a row. Really, the entire series, they didn't shoot very well overall. But we only had 7 made threes, 7 of 29, to their 17 of 43. So that's 10 less three-pointers right there. That's a ton of points. Free throw line, we were efficient. They were not efficient, so that might have evened some things out. But, at the end of the day, Tatum was matching. He actually scored more than Giannis. He ended up with 46, but he was matching Giannis, blow for blow. And that's really what won this game for the Celtics. When it looked like the Bucks were going to blow this thing out or take the lead, Tatum just took all the momentum and was hitting big-time three-pointers. And sometimes that happens. Tatum is a very, very talented player. He can get hot like that, obviously. He's had multiple 50-point games, 40-point games, in the playoffs and the regular season. And, when we get into the defensive philosophy discussion, I think that'll be something that we'll have to bring up is how we guarded Tatum in some situations. Smart and Brown, Smart added 21 and Brown added 22. So they had pretty even scoring over there for the Celtics, where the Bucks were not as even, and that hurt us at the end of the day.
yeah, I mean, Giannis got off to a really hot start. The Bucks made a 16-2 run at one point in the beginning of this game. Giannis was forcing the issue early. He had 17 points in the first quarter, and he really didn't slow down at all. And you really couldn't have asked anything more from Giannis in this game. He had 21, 8 and 3 at half, basically exactly half of what he finished with. And it's unfortunate that the Bucks couldn't finish this one out or finish Game 7 out, but too many turnovers, not finishing possessions, just digging the hole by not doing the fundamentals. Not being able to string stops together. That has been a theme in some of the other games the Bucks lost. Is you can get a stop here or there, but you're not scoring 100% of the time every time you get a stop. So the Bucks had trouble stringing stops together consecutively and going on runs. And the poor shooting behind the 3-point line is part of that. A couple things with turnovers. Giannis had 2 late in the first half. 5.5 seconds on the clock before halftime. Didn't even get a shot off. It felt like the Bucks were lucky to be down by 5 at halftime. And then it just more turnovers. I did feel bad for Grayson Allen. He had some good looks. He had like 3 shots that went halfway down and popped out. So I felt bad for Grayson Allen on that. His shooting, it kind of went away on him. As far as the grand scheme is concerned, I don't feel the need to bring somebody in to replace Grayson. I'm not worried about it in a small sample size of one series when you can look at the Bulls series and be like, damn, look what he did. And then, it let out in the Celtics series. But,
and the thing with that too is he might look a little bit better with more spacing from Middleton. So that's something to take into consideration is the defense is going to guard us completely different if we have Chris Middleton, So, that's something to take into consideration for all the Bucks fans, really.
Yeah, and then so many one-and-done possessions.
Yeah.
So many one-and-done possessions. The Bucks killed offensive rebounds in Game 5. And Brook Lopez was a big part of that. And then Game 6, Game 7, I mean, at times, Game 7 was better, but Pat Connaughton was doing everything he could to keep the Bucks in Game 6. Through the first 6 games, Pat Connaughton was 27 of 46 and 14 for 28 on threes.
Attaboy.
And it seemed like he ran out of gas in Game 7 too. It's really unfortunate the way that it really happened for the Bucks. That Game 7 wasn't more of a competitive game, but was still more competitive than the Game 7 that happened in the Western Conference. So, I mean,
True.
We got that going for us. So if you want to talk about Game 7, and then let's get some philosophy stuff done.
Yeah, Game 7. Giannis came out and he was setting the pace. He was on triple-double watch after one quarter. He ended the game with 25 points, 20 rebounds, back-to-back 20-rebound games, which is insanity. 9 assists, 10 of 26, and 1 of 4 behind the three-point line. I wrote down the stats for all the starting 5, and I added up all the totals. Drew Holiday, 21, 5 and 8, 9 of 21. 0 of 6 from 3. Brook Lopez, 15 and 10. Brook Lopez played very well, I thought, in Game 7. He was 6 of 12, 1 of 6 from 3. Wes Matthews, 3 points, 2 rebounds, 1 of 5, 0 of 3. And Grayson with 1.0 rebounds and 3 assists. He was 0 of 6 and 0 of 4. All in total, the starting lineup shot 26 of 70. Not good. And 2 of 23 from 3. That's not going to get it done on the road, in the playoffs, in a Game 7, in a must-win situation. And it's not like they were just out there just jacking up shots. For a little bit, we looked like we lost our rhythm like we did a couple other times in this series. But, in the totality of things, a lot of things that you could have changed and a lot of things that kind of went the right way for the Celtics. It just kind of feels like their year a little bit to me, but can't be too upset. Don't want to take this stuff too hard. Don't want to, and I wanted to talk about the shooting after Game 6, but maybe we'll hold off on that. But you can't be letting stuff like this. Yes, it bothers us too, but you can't be letting it, run your life like this, because then innocent people get hurt, And there's that joke that goes around, and I don't even know if I want to joke about it anymore, but about after Packer games, how the wives always get beat after the Packers lose. It's like, how are you gonna beat up your wife? Had nothing to do with the Packers losing, dude. So it is what it is. The Celtics played a hell of a series. It was a great series for us being down our second best player. We stretched it out to a Game 7, man. So the Celtics won. I'm cheering for the Heat now, because I don't want the Celtics to win because I don't like Boston teams. And then after the Heat win, I'm cheering for the Warriors because I want the Warriors to win because I like Curry. But we'll see what happens.
I like Jimmy Butler, but he went to Marquette, so
yeah, I like Jimmy too.
I'm with that a little bit. I like his attitude a little bit too. He's kind of swaggy.
He's tough. I'll tell you that.
The one part of the Heat winning that conflicts me is the people whining that we didn't re-sign PJ Tucker. Because then if another PJ Tucker team wins the championship, then it's gonna be like, see, if we kept PJ Tucker, that would have been us. Even though there's so many other factors outside of one player.
We need Doctor Strange.
Yeah. Yeah, in an alternate universe, the Bucks are winning repeat championships. Um, I want to give Grayson Allen a little bit of credit because the beginning of this game, he actually played really good defense on Jason Tatum. He forced one really bad fadeaway that Tatum missed. He forced 2 turnovers, and Tatum ended up finishing 1 of 3 with 2 turnovers when guarded by Grayson Allen. So I wanted to give Grayson Allen a little bit of props for that. Giannis scored or assisted on all of the first 17 points in this game. By halftime, he had scored or assisted on 33 of the 43 points that the Bucks scored. So Giannis was the Bucks in Game 7.
Yep.
And then the second half was just flat. Guys were missing open shots, giving up open shots, giving up offensive rebounds. Giannis was missing layups. Guys they looked mentally drained on top of being physically drained. And then Grayson Allen finally hits a 3-pointer, and they call a stupid-ass offensive foul on George Hill, who was just running through. I mean...
It's one of the dumbest calls I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah.
Seriously.
If Jeff Van Gundy is like, oh, I don't know about that one, it's probably a bad call.
Yeah.
And then, for a lot of the third quarter, they were trading 2s for 3s. And Boston just kept hitting their 3s. And it just snowballed. Took 2 minutes into the fourth quarter before the Bucks went from down 5 to down 12.
Yeah. And when they were talking about that during the game, about how, we got the lead down. Mike Breen, he's already ballooned back up to 11. And I'm like, yeah, that's tough.
Get Castanera!
Hold on. He just hit a... I got it right now. Hold on. Let me see this. No way.
What a stud. He fucking launched.
No way, bro.
Oh, he launched that one.
Two-run blast.
Woo! What a stud.
Let's go.
He hit the walk-off 2-run shot. What a stud.
And I saw...
He was the AAA player of the week.
I just want to say this. I saw 2 Brewers fans today, while the game was going on, say, maybe we should send Hero back to the AAA. And now look what happens. You look like a fool. That's why I tell people watch the whole game.
Yeah, stop saying that shit during the game. Stop saying there's a dagger in the 6th inning.
Seriously, bro. Golly.
Launched it off the scoreboard. What a stud. Awesome.
Atta baby.
Yeah, I mean, Game 7 was rough. Credit to the Celtics. They played well. They made their 3s. They made their open shots, and that's what you got to do. The Bucks didn't, and Jake's got some stats to point that out. But so the 3 things that we want to talk about are, first, that there's more to basketball than scoring. Secondly, we want to talk about some of the defensive philosophies in the NBA, and then third, we want to talk a little bit about some early thoughts on potentially retooling the roster and getting ready for another run. So let's start with more to basketball than scoring, because there is. I'm tired of seeing that George Hill only scored 5 points in 2 games or whatever, or that Grayson Allen only scored this many points, or that Wesley Matthews only scored 35 points in the 7 games. So there is more to basketball than scoring. So when you hear that, what do you think, Jake?
Okay. First things first. When you brought this up that you wanted to talk about this, I was like, the first thing I'm going to bring up is Javon Carter had 7 points in Game 1 and had a plus 25. So what does that tell you? He's not just out there scoring a bunch of buckets. No, he's out there playing defense. He's rotating. He's making the right passes. He's forcing havoc. I mean, this is such a stupid discussion. I can't believe I have to explain to people how basketball works. But
we got to boil it down.
Here we go. So you could be a defensive stud, right? You could be a guy that can guard multiple positions.
PJ Tucker.
Yeah.
So
Oh yeah. So you were just talking about how if another PJ Tucker team wins, and what do you think that is? That's mentality. That's being in the right spot on defense. That's boxing out, grabbing rebounds. That's running the correct lanes on the offensive fast break. I mean, there's a lot of stuff that goes into basketball that, for me and you, we just know this stuff because we played the game. So we know the right lanes to run. We know, when to box out, the communication. And that's where, people don't really see the value in Chris Middleton, because Middleton is like a coach on the floor, and that's part of the reason why we missed Middleton, I believe, because he's a guy that can rein Giannis in. Giannis may take a bad three-pointer or a bad jumper, and nobody else goes up to Giannis and kind of like grabs him by the shirt and is like, listen, Middleton can do that because he has that respect.
Bobby during the playoffs a couple times last year too.
Middleton is our coach on the floor.
Middleton's like telling him to settle down. Like
Middleton is our coach on the floor. He is that guy. We miss that presence. Outside of his ability to stretch the defense and hit big-time shots, he's the guy that kind of holds it all together. He's the glue guy, in my opinion.
Eric Names said it really well. He's the Bucks writer for The Athletic. He said it perfectly. He's like looking at it where you could have used some extra length on defense, some extra scoring in the fourth quarter. He's like, the Bucks could have really used a 25-5 guy.
Yeah. And it's just massive. So to the point of more than scoring, look at Brook Lopez. If you want to look no further than a player on this Bucks roster, he always boxes out. And even if he doesn't get multiple blocks in games, which he did a couple times this series, he always is hands straight up. Which, what does that allow? That allows a bad shot, even if they make it 1 out of 8 times, right? You're getting missed attempts. Giannis is getting those rebounds, and he's going, right? And that sets us up in early fast break opportunities, which a lot of times ends up in scoring. But you have to do all those little things to get those opportunities. So for me, guys like Wes Matthews, playing good defense. Guys like Grayson Allen, you just pointed out his defense. Brook Lopez. I mean, Pat Connaughton, yes, he hits threes, and that's what everybody loves about him. But he also is the first to the floor in a dive ball situation, getting those extra possessions. He's the guy that is talking and keeping everybody up. Look at Thanasis on the end of the bench. The guy barely plays, but his spirit on the bench keeps everybody else's spirit up. He doesn't score a lot of points for us. But his spirit and his energy around the team is something that we desperately need at all times. Look at Bobby when he comes in the game.
I don't see that from any other teams. Like I'd have to look closer, but I don't see a guy that's as hyped and puts as much energy into the rest of his team as Thanasis does to the Bucks.
Definitely not on a consistent basis. I'll guarantee that. Not on a night-to-night basis. Definitely not. I would say Thanasis is definitely the only one that I know. And I know Pat gets into it once in a while when he's sitting on the bench in long stretches. He's usually in the game, but
guys that have that role, that number one bench mob guy, I don't know that Thanasis is matched anywhere in the league at being that hype man for the rest of your roster.
No, definitely not. Hell no. No.
So, I mean, that's just one specific specialist that you're looking at. So you can have defensive specialists, you can have floor generals, you can have rebounding specialists, you can have, there's so many more things that play into this game than scoring. Look beyond a box score. Look beyond how many shots a guy made, how many points a guy finished with. How many games did Dennis Rodman have where he had 0 points but like 20 rebounds?
And ask Jordan. That shit's valuable.
Yeah. You're keeping the ball away from the other team. There's 2 guys in the playoffs right now that are specialists at what they do beyond scoring. Look at PJ Tucker as the example that I gave. Look at how he helped the Bucks last year despite making like 1-3 per series. Like he was brought in as a 3-and-D guy, because he hits that corner 3 because he just camps out there and people leave him, and he's making all those corner 3s. He barely made any as a member of the Bucks, but his defense was so valuable. The other guy that I want to bring up is Draymond Green.
That's the one.
How much scoring does Draymond Green do?
Not much.
Not very much.
He sets up all the plays, though.
That dude is a guy that can get a triple-double without points.
That's a good call out right there. That's a great call out.
So there's value in being a guy who is 6'6" but can guard 1 through 5.
Mm-hmm.
There's so much more to this game than scoring, and if there's people out there that want to look into more of the nuances of the game, it's fun. It's a beautiful game when you learn that there is more to it than points.
Very good. Very good.
I mean, you look at a guy like Andre Drummond, who is not a threat outside of the restricted circle, but can give you 20 and 20. Yes, those 20 points are there, but Andre Drummond has been a good rebounder for so long.
But on top of that, would you consider Draymond Green or Andre Drummond a good scorer? No, he's getting all that stuff off of extra rebounds and effort. That's an energy thing and dump down plays. I mean, him on the Nets, they're not going to put any defensive pressure on him. He's getting all that extra stuff off of dump downs.
Right. Throw in a guy like Ricky Rubio and Rajon Rondo, who have never been great shooters, but they are floor generals that know exactly where to put people. I think it was when Rajon Rondo was on. I think it was when he was on the Cavaliers, and Rondo brings up the floor against the zone defense. He points at Cedi Osman, tells him to go to the wing. He puts the ball over here, tells the guy to give him the ball back, passes the ball over to Cedi Osman, who's wide open, and cashes a 3.
Yeah.
You're going to tell me there's no value in that because Rajon Rondo didn't score on that play?
Yeah.
You're going to tell me that a guy who can only score, say, 5 points in a game but is capable of giving you 10 assists because he knows what he's doing? A guy that can run your offense, a guy that can start your offense. Yeah. I mean, look at... This is kind of a weird example because he does other things, but look at Ben Simmons. Would you call Ben Simmons a scorer?
No.
I would not, but he's capable of scoring because he does other things. He can get out in transition. He's a good ball handler. He's a very good passer, and he's a good defender. Yeah. That's why he's a high sought-after player in the league.
Yep. So,
I mean, like I said, basketball is a beautiful game. There's so much more to it than just scoring points.
There really is.
Being a defensive specialist is part of it, which is why Wesley Matthews was on the Bucks. I think he contributed more to the Bucks than DeMarcus Cousins would have in any of these situations. I did see a lot of people complaining about Serge Ibaka not playing a lot. He was brought in as insurance for Brook Lopez, who ended up being healthy throughout the playoffs. Mm-hmm. So they didn't really need Serge Ibaka. That's kind of just the way that it shook out. But when I asked about discussing defensive philosophies, what is the first thing that came to mind?
Well, it was people complaining about Bud's defensive philosophy. That's the first thing that came to my mind. So there's so many different ways to defend in the NBA. Mm-hmm. And it's different now than it was 10 years ago, 5 years ago, 20 years ago, 30 years ago. It's all different. You have to adjust to how the game is going. Now, everybody shoots. And I'm not saying everybody shoots good, but everybody shoots, okay? So on that note, I did take a little bit of stats because I wanted to look into this. Bud's defensive philosophy is to pack the paint and really try to get the ball out of the Stars' hands or make them take tough shots. Tyler brought up a scenario earlier with Grayson Allen making Tatum take a really tough mid-range jumper. That's tough. And that's one of those shots where they might make that every once in a while. And it happens, okay?
That's why I say good defense or good offense beats good defense every time.
There's just some really good players. And Brown, Celtics have 2 guys that are capable of making those shots. And you know that going into the game. So with Bud's philosophy of defending the paint, owning the paint, and giving up the 3, it burned us. I didn't. You got to just tip your hat. It is what it is. Yep. In Game 6, the Bucks scored 48 points in the paint to the Celtics 34. In Game 7, we scored 48 points in the paint again to the Celtics 26. So we outscored them 96-60 in the paint. So we owned the paint. No problem with that. But then when you look at the 3-pointers, that's you're getting an extra point on that. That's where the disparity really starts to show because the others on the Celtics made their shots. It is what it is, man. In Game 3, or Game 6, sorry, I'm looking at a bunch of threes here. Game 6, they made 10 more threes. And in Game 7, they made 18 more three-pointers. So in total in those 2 games, they made 28 more threes or 84 points. So that's where this philosophy can burn you. But say Grant Williams doesn't turn into frickin' Steph Curry.
Mm-hmm.
Or, Horford doesn't turn into Steph Curry for a night. Dirk Nowitzki. I should just say Dirk Nowitzki since they're both big men. I mean, where are we sitting then? Are people still calling for Bud's head right now? I mean, the guy literally just led us to a title last year. And this team, the core of this team, is still good, still in their prime.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Drew Holiday, Giannis, and Middleton, there's not a better big three in the league that you can say right now definitively that's a better big three than that.
Right.
It's definitely an argument. You can make an argument. Right. I'll listen to an argument. I'll listen to a debate. But there's not definitely one that's better. The thing about this is, it is what it is. It happened. They shot 55 threes. They shot 55 threes. Think about telling somebody that in the 90s. Think about that. Telling the 90s Bulls that the other team's going to shoot 55 threes.
In a week?
Yeah, right? In a week? No, in one game. There was 88 three-point attempts in Game 7 alone. The Bucks shot 33 of them. But they made their shots. It is what it is. Personally, the one thing I will say about Bud that needs to change is he needs to make in-game adjustments a little bit better.
Yep.
And that's the one thing that me and you are definitely on the same wavelength with.
Yep.
If you see a guy hitting, you're going to have to run him off the three-point line. Right. That's just how it is. Okay, that's just how the world works. I don't make the rules. I follow them. And when a guy makes 6 threes, I'm not going to let him make a 7th because that's embarrassing.
Right.
Okay? It is what it is, but I'm going to listen to what Tyler says, and then we'll talk a little bit more about different philosophies that could have happened. But what do you got, buddy?
So, in response with the Budenholzer defense, the thought process behind that is that you are allowing the team to shoot the lowest percentage shot that they shoot.
Yep.
Now, when Boston comes and makes all these threes, and it's higher than the percentage that they shot, over the course of their entire season, and it's a small part of the random sample sizes, where if you shoot 35% on threes for the season, you're gonna have some games where you shoot 55%, and you're gonna have some games where you shoot 15%.
Yeah.
But this situation isn't one where you look at Budenholzer with the scapegoat mindset and say, he's the reason we lost this series, or look at Grayson Allen, who missed a lot of threes, and say, he's the reason we lost this series, or look at the fact that George Hill didn't score a ton of points, even though he gave other contributions, and say, he's the reason they lost this series, without realizing that everybody plays their part. And in a situation where everybody plays their part, and Boston does something in a game or a 2-game stretch that they didn't do that well over the course of the entire season, instead of looking at your own team and trying to assign blame, why don't you look at the other team and assign some credit?
They made shots.
Boston is not a bad team. It's not like we got blown out by the Pistons. It's the Boston Celtics, who are now in the Eastern Conference Finals. That team's not here by accident. They didn't win that game by accident. Yes, it's the philosophy that Budenholzer has to allow teams to shoot open threes, because that's the lowest percentage shot they shoot. If they make those threes, give them credit for doing what they need to do to beat the defensive system that Milwaukee has set up. A defensive system that won them a championship less than a year ago.
Yeah.
So the scapegoat mindset of blame this person, and this person, and we need to fire him, trade him, and cut him. This is gonna sound harsh, but it's a loser mindset.
Yeah.
Because you're trying to find out reasons why your team lost instead of giving credit to the team that did what they needed to do to win.
I talked to Dan. I told him he has to call us dicks, not fellas. But a boy, Dan. Thanks for listening.
So as far as defensive philosophies are concerned, I'm gonna use this as a theme where things can be simple, but it doesn't mean that they're easy. It's simple to say the Bucks lost because Celtics made a bunch of threes, so Budenholzer should defend the 3. or guys should be running guys off the 3-point line. Yeah, you can say that, and it's easy to say, oh, just defend the 3 better, or oh, just make more threes. It's simple to say that, but it's not easy to do. It's not easy to put into practice. It's not easy to say, hey, make those guys make less threes. Because, say Pat Connaughton, for example, who's a really athletic guy who can run at a 3-point shooter and maybe get fingertips on a ball. He did that at times. He's done it before. But what that does is it takes one time of you getting fingertips on a 3-point shot before the next time that guy pump fakes and he drives to the lane and you're essentially playing 5-on-4.
Yep.
Or you got a guy who's swinging the ball around and the ball swings around to the next guy, and you have so many pieces moving around that somebody ends up wide open for a dunk. Or you allow yourself open for that dribble drive, and then you get to a point where, say you run Jaylen Brown off the 3-point line. He pump fakes, he takes 2 dribbles to the elbow, and he's either shooting a wide open shot from the elbow, or Brook Lopez is stepping up, and he's dumping the ball down to Al Horford, who dunks the ball.
Yep.
It's so much easier said than done to say defend the 3-point line. Yes, it's easy to say, but it doesn't make it easy to do. There's always trade-offs to no matter what defensive system or what defensive philosophy you run in basketball.
I told him before Game 7 I had a feeling. I was like, it feels like a Giannis game.
It did. I mean, look at the first quarter. It definitely felt like a Giannis game. But so a couple things.
Yeah, I was feeling good, man, after the quarter. I was about to talk so much shit.
So the philosophy that Budenholzer runs actually stems from a Tom Thibodeau defensive philosophy. Tom Thibodeau came up with defending the 3-point line and packing the paint. Some of the Bulls teams that he ran were really, really good defensive teams.
Mm-hmm.
But what comes along with that is you need to have the right personnel, which is what you need to have with a lot of different defensive philosophies. So, when you run this philosophy, a lot of what you want to do as far as pick and rolls are concerned is you want to be able to force guys to dribble and to pull back away from the basket and have more time come off the shot clock. What having the right personnel does is it allows you to switch things. Yep. That's arguably the best defense that you can have in the NBA is being able to switch and not have super egregious mismatches all over the place. Like getting Jason Tatum being guarded by Brook Lopez. The Warriors are very fortunate to have a guy like Draymond Green who is smaller, faster, and can guard 1 through 5. That works for them, so they can switch everything. The Bucks have some guys like that. The Heat too.
Bam
Adebayo is very good with that. That's where if Brook Lopez is a little bit younger, you might be a little less susceptible to that. But I think that's ultimately why Bobby Portis ended up being the main big man down the stretch in some of these games. It's because he's more agile, even though he's not necessarily the best defensive anchor, defensive mind as far as the center position is concerned. But there's trade-offs to everything you do, whether it's doubling the ball handler on a pick and roll or playing a zone defense or playing straight up one-on-one defense. Because then what do you do when a guy gets going like crazy? A guy like Jason Tatum who can score and score and score and score and score and score and score. You stick to your one-on-one defensive philosophy because that's what it is, or do you send a second defender at him to make him give up the ball? And that's what the Bucks did. They forced the ball out of Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown's hands, and they said, hey, Grant Williams, we dare you to beat us. And he did. He ended up being the Game 7 leading scorer. And that's the point where I'm saying you give credit to guys doing what they needed to do to win.
Yep. And the thing about Grant Williams getting those opportunities, it all stemmed from Horford, hitting those shots earlier in the series. Game 3, Game 4, he was on fire. He won them the Game 4. So, Horford being able to hit shots, it trickled down to Grant Williams being able to hit shots.
I mean, you look at Grant Williams' stats in Games 5 and 6, he was terrible.
Yeah, he was non-existent, bro.
But, Game 7, you say, hey, do what you think, you're capable of, because we've seen you do nothing. It comes down to basically performance. But it is what it is.
Execution, man.
Yeah. Like I said, things can be simple, but it doesn't mean that they're easy.
Why would you say Suns Nation? You guys got absolutely fucking deep throated.
I don't even know how to process that.
Dude, you guys lost worse than us.
Yeah, what did you guys lose by, like 40? Damn.
On your home court. On your home court.
That was a weird flex,
You got
bro.
bent over on your home court.
It was like
Yikes.
64 game win season and coach of the year and saying that Booker and Chris Paul should be MVP candidates and
Yeah, you know what? You know what I'm really excited for? Now that we're talking about the Suns?
Ooh.
I'm really excited to see if Booker's about that life if Chris Paul leaves. That's all I'm going to say. He didn't start making the playoffs till CP got there. And CP's, we were just talking about specialists.
Oh, God,
CP
no.
gets everybody set up, bro. Everybody set up.
I hate to say this, but I think it could be. Oh God, I hate this. I hate the thought of this because it would be really good for them. I could see a scenario where I've seen DeAndre Ayton linked to Portland. I can see a scenario where DeAndre Ayton goes to Portland and Karl Anthony Towns ends up in Phoenix with Booker.
What? Does he want out of Minnesota?
Would you want into Minnesota?
I mean, that's a good point.
Like, I get that they have
Phoenix.
Anthony Edwards and some young guys like Jared Vanderbilt and D'Angelo Russell, who I've heard they may consider trading. But
Yeah, they're just going to blow everything up over there, apparently. Hey, we made the playoffs for the first time ever, and we're kind of competitive, but
yeah, right.
screw this.
I mean, it's also possible Karl Anthony Towns gets a supermax deal, stays around in Minnesota for most of his career, and does the KG thing, goes like to get a ring somewhere. But
Cat and Booker together would be nice, bro.
I know they have
KD
that college
wants
connection. Oh man,
Okay, take Kevin Durant. He's about 9,000 years old now.
he's what, pushing 33, I think.
Oh, he's got to be older than that, isn't he? Oh, no, maybe not. You're probably right. How old is KD? How old is KD? Let me see. He'll be 34 next year.
Mm.
You were right on the
Oh.
dot, though. You were
Yeah.
right on the dot.
9,000 years old, yeah.
In basketball years, bro, he's been playing forever.
Yeah, I mean, he's still tall and can shoot. So like as he gets older, he's just gonna get slower. You don't forget how to shoot as you get older.
True. And that spacing with Booker. Man, imagine if they got Booker and Cat with KD. That'd be nasty.
That would be nasty.
It'd be a nasty trio. They could.
Oof. All right, so now we've talked about more to the game than scoring. Some of the trade-offs of defensive philosophies. The last thing we want to talk about with basketball, before we say goodbye to basketball for a while, is some really early thoughts on what the Bucks can do to retool the roster. This is, once it comes down to, the playoffs are over, and we're looking into some of the offseason stuff. Like the Bucks have done some of their exit interviews, but Weston Matthews is a free agent. Bobby Portis has a player option that it seems like he wants to stay, but he's going to leave it to his agent to determine if it's a good value for him. Brook Lopez is in the last year of his contract. Pat Connaughton is in the last year of his contract. Grayson Allen has a 2-year extension, so he's here for another 2 years. I could see an avenue where George Hill is released or just straight up traded to anybody looking for an expiring contract. But Jake and I have a handful of guys that we thought about bringing in that would fit on this roster. So I don't know if you just want to go back and forth or if you want to give all yours and I'll give all of mine.
We can go back and forth for a while, and then we'll see what happens. Some of mine are pretty unrealistic, but I was just thinking about fit, and need. I was trying to do hand in hand. I know the money's going to be tight, but in the NBA, you can go over and pay the luxury tax anyways. So,
Right.
Yeah, Josh, we're not even going to touch that. Me and Tyler discussed it today.
Yeah, there's
not even
there's no scenario where it makes sense to trade
that.
for a 31-year-old point guard when we already have a 31-year-old point guard that plays defense. Yeah, it'd be cool to have
Yep.
Damian Lillard on the Bucks, but that's pretty much all it would be. Is that it would be cool. Um,
Yeah.
people saying trade Middleton for Lillard. Like Middleton has better shooting numbers over his career than
And
Damian
he's
Lillard,
bigger.
and he's bigger and he's younger.
Yeah.
So unless
Shit,
they
he might
would,
be cheaper too.
it probably is. Like Damian Lillard's probably gonna want around 40 million. I just don't see any scenario where it
It's
makes
gotta
sense to
be.
trade for a 31-year-old Damian Lillard.
I agree. On that note, I have a couple point guards. You want to start on point guards?
Sure, let's do that.
Okay, so my first one, and this one's not going to happen, but it would be absolutely amazing. You already actually brought him up without knowing about this, but I talked about Ricky Rubio. I think Rubio is the backup point guard. Obviously, a guy that started a ton of games in his career. He could be able to come in, get people in the right spot, make some nice passes, and he would really be a great floor general for the Bucks.
That's the reason that George Hill played over Javon Carter.
Yeah.
Is that he's the floor general. He's running your offense. He's the better ball handler, the better passer. That's why George Hill was out there over Javon Carter.
Mm-hmm.
But looking at point guards, one guy that I put back in my mind, I don't think it would be a bad idea to consider bringing Javon Carter back. Luka Vildoza did sign a 3-year deal, so he's going to be around. Rajon Tucker has been on the herd, doing well for a while. The Bucks put him on an NBA deal. One guy that I put out there was Dennis Schroeder. So
Yep.
he's been linked to the Bucks a handful of times because he's got the familiarity with Budenholzer. It's really just at this point of his career if he's still going to try to find a starting job somewhere, which it's probably going to have to be with a not great team.
Yep.
Because any team that's in contention is going to be wanting him to take a pay cut on a shorter deal. So if he's going to want to try to get starter money, he's going to have to do it on a bad team. So he's going to have to ultimately decide if he wants to be on a good team for less money in a backup role, or if he wants to be a starter on a bad team and make more money. So that's really going to be up to him. But, Dennis Schroeder is a guy that I had in my mind.
I also have bring Carter back with a question mark next to it because he is so cheap. We don't have bird rights on him, but he's a guy that we could probably bring back pretty cheap, and keep him around. He already knows a bunch of the guys, so it wouldn't be a bad thing. I also have Dennis Schroeder written down for a lot of the same reasons. He's quick. He can get to the basket. He's a guy that, is a sometime shooter, which is okay. He could be a sometime shooter with a fully healthy roster on the Bucks. He doesn't have to be a striper. But Schroeder would be a really nice fit, in my opinion. The last guy that I have, and I just put this down there kind of, just throw it out there, maybe the discussion point. Do we try Aaron Holiday? Do we let Drew Holiday have the same respect as Giannis and just have the Holiday backcourt and see what happens?
I mean, they did it with the Lopez's too. They brought in Robin Lopez. Like, obviously, Robin Lopez is still good enough to be on rosters other places.
Right.
And I do think that Thanasis ultimately could be as well. I don't see it outside the realm of possibility that Thanasis could make the Pistons roster or the Oklahoma City Thunder roster or the Houston Rockets roster. Like, I don't see that as a far stretch of the imagination. Robin Lopez is a guy who's been on other rosters. Aaron Holiday is a guy who's been on other rosters. So, I mean, I don't think that's outside the realm of possibility.
Only $2.6 million, dude.
I think he's tall too, isn't Aaron Holiday like 6'5"?
He's a big tall guy, just like his brother. I mean, Drew's a little bit more thicker. He's thicker, a little bit more put together. The other two are a little bit more long, lanky athletes. But Aaron Holiday, I mean, I just threw it out there for discussion. But as we're talking about it, seems like a good idea.
Yeah, and these are just really early names that we're throwing out there. Jake and I haven't put a ton of research into this. This isn't like top 5 free agents we want for the Bucks. This is just early thoughts on some retooling the Bucks can do. Moving to shooting guard, I have a couple that I tossed out there. First one is he's kind of a combo guard, but I put out Malik Monk. Kind of spent the year buried on the Lakers roster, and then kind of came on towards the end of the year. The Lakers dealt with a lot of injuries this year and a lot of uncertainty on their roster. But, if he's willing to take another short deal to come play on a contender and say, hey, come play with Giannis, Drew Holiday, and Chris Middleton. So Malik Monk is a name that I put on my list as a potential thought.
I actually didn't do shooting guards, so you can have the
Oh,
floor
all
for
right.
shooting guards.
I also put Patty Mills on the list. He signed a 1-year deal with the Nets last year, so I put Patty Mills on here just because
He can
he's a
shoot.
good 3-point shooter. You really can't have too many shooters around Giannis.
Nope.
And with as much small ball as teams are playing, I think we might end up seeing it, even though Giannis doesn't love doing it because it's a lot of physicality on the body. But I think the Bucks are the best when Giannis is playing center because he's that guy that can switch onto a point guard and guard 1 through 5.
Yeah.
As far as shooting guards are concerned, the only other name that I had written down was Gary Harris. He was the guy that was potentially going to be a buyout candidate. I have no idea what the market for Gary Harris is going to be like because he's been buried on Orlando's roster for so long.
He's just been injured, man. He has the talent.
So I put Gary Harris on there. But if you want to move over to some forwards, I have some interesting names here.
I also have some forwards.
All right. Hit me with a couple.
All right. Well, the first one is the guy that made us dogs, and that's PJ Tucker. Maybe if they knocked us, we can try to right the wrong, that we made with PJ Tucker. His player option is for $7 million. So if the Bucks can somehow get him to $7 million and see if he wants to make a run with Milwaukee again, I could see that a reunion happening. But I don't think he's leaving Miami.
So I actually have a guy that's on Miami as well. I don't think he's going to leave either, but I have Caleb Martin. He's kind of bounced around a little bit. That's a long one. I'm going to finish talking about Caleb Martin, and then I will read that comment, Michael. Caleb Martin, he's a decent defender. He's 36.3% career three-point shooter. And in 2021-2022 season, he shot 41.3% on threes with the Miami Heat. So I threw Caleb Martin out there as a guy who would be inexpensive, but also a potential option.
Okay, my next two are kind of because they do get a little expensive. The first one that I wrote down was Joe Ingles. The guy can just straight up shoot. He's tough. He plays defense. He's been in winning culture before. So, he's a guy that, is really, really interesting to me. Like I said, he can shoot, so he can stretch the floor, and he plays defense. So that's what you're looking for when you're trying to fine-tune a team, is you're trying to find guys that are specialists, like, oh, okay, let's go here. This guy can shoot, this guy can shoot, this guy can shoot. He plays D. You trust him in the fourth quarter. So Joe Ingles is a guy that I thought of.
I have a defensive specialist for you. Kyle Anderson.
Oh, slow-mo, baby.
That dude is a defensive specialist. I have defense and 3 check marks written next to Kyle Anderson. He's a guy that could be kind of like that poor man's PJ Tucker. He's not as well known, but he's got a little bit of size on him, and he's a good defender. You could throw him at just about anybody. So I like the thought of having that guy, even though he's not necessarily a super big offensive contributor.
All right, so my last guy that I have for forwards is a guy that has been improving his shot, but he's not known as a defensive guy. He's kind of an all-around guy. He does a little bit of everything. I have Thaddeus Young. He's a guy that can play multiple positions. You can put him at both forward spots, and you can go little tiny spurts with him at the center position. He's athletic. He can get to the rim. He could be a decent passer. I just think that Thaddeus Young fit on this team great. I do some stuff with him, Bobby, and Giannis all together, make a weird mix, and see if it works.
He's another guy that I would put in like that Gary Harris conversation where it's like you're not really sure what the value is going to be there. Like he was a name thrown around in potential buyout conversations, but he didn't get bought out. I mean, he's the kind of guy that's just going to float around out there. I'm not sure what the market's going to be on a guy like that.
Yeah.
I had 2 other names as far as forwards are concerned. One is Nicholas Batum. He's getting up there a little bit in age, but he's still a good 3-and-D guy.
Yep.
And then this one is contingent on Bobby Portis leaving for somewhere else, and that would be Montrezl Harold. He's a gritty, tough guy. Similar to like the Morris brothers. One of them's on the Clippers. The other one is in Miami.
Mm-hmm.
Those two, those are gritty, tough guys that'll mix it up. They'll throw their bodies around, but they are strong, tough guys. That's what Montrezl Harold is. So if Bobby Portis leaves and we're looking to replace that effort level, Montrezl Harold is a guy I have on my radar.
Yeah, he would be a great replacement, honestly. Are we doing centers now?
Yes, because I have one other forward on here, but it's also contingent on something else that I want to bring up after.
Okay, so I'm going to do two of my centers together because they're on the same team, and I'm not sure what the team's going to do with either of them. They're both on the Magic. I have Mo Bamba and Bol Bol. These are both guys that are still raw. They're still cheap. Both of them are restricted free agents. I have no idea why the Magic traded for Bol Bol if they already have Mo Bamba. They're basically the same player. But those are two guys that are interesting because they can shoot, they can block shots, and they're really, really long. They're super long.
Yep.
Mo Bamba is super long. Bol Bol's super long. I don't know who's longer, honestly. But, those are two guys that would be interesting, I think, on the Bucks. Bol Bol, he was on the Nuggets, so he's been in a winning situation, winning culture. But Mo Bamba has never really been in that situation, so I'm interested if we could find a way to get him and we put him in a winning culture and winning situations every day, and we shape that mind. I'm wondering if we could tap into that potential a little bit. So that's why I'm really interested in Mo Bamba.
I have Mo Bamba on my list as well,
Mm-hmm.
but I'm going to tease and I'm going to make you wait to tell you why.
Oh, okay.
So I'm going to bring up two other names first.
Okay.
One of them is Mitchell Robinson, who's a guy at the center position that I've really liked for a while.
Yep.
He flies under the radar as far as centers are concerned just because it's not a center-driven league anymore. It's all about positionless basketball, but as far as centers are concerned, Mitchell Robinson, I really think he's got a lot to bring to the table as far as being around the rim is concerned. He's a really good rebounder, and he can finish at the rim. He can play some defense, so I really like Mitchell Robinson. I told you that I had some outside-the-box ideas that would be really inexpensive, and here's my guy. I floated this out there as a potential idea before the trade deadline last year when Brook Lopez was still injured. Gorgui Dieng from the Atlanta Hawks. He's a free agent this offseason. He spent a lot of time in Minnesota.
Okay.
He's long, plays good defense, and the last two seasons, he shot 42% on threes.
Just saying.
So, my mind, what I'm looking at to keep the Bucks title window open for the length of Giannis's prime and the length of Drew and Chris's careers is getting younger at that center position, which is where I bring in the thought of Mo Bamba.
Mm-hmm.
What I was thinking with Mo Bamba is a potential sign and trade with the Orlando Magic, whereas the Magic sign and trade Mo Bamba to the Bucks for Brook Lopez. What it does is it gives the Bucks the young center that can still do the 3 and D. And what you do there is you keep Bobby Portis, you play Mamu a little bit at the center, and you have Mo Bamba, and you keep that rotation, you keep everybody fresh, you keep different styles of play on the floor, and you still get that production because Mo Bamba is actually a decent 3-point shooter.
Mm-hmm.
What Orlando gets out of that deal is an expiring contract on an older guy who can bring some veteran leadership to a team that his brother is already on. They obviously love Orlando because they talk about it all the time, how often the Lopez's are at Disneyland. And Orlando has the number 1 pick this year. So yes, they may be ready to start getting ready. They're still a long way from being in the playoffs, but they're still, if they're healthy, the guys that they have, they're getting ready to get ready to be in a position like where the Cleveland Cavaliers were this past year. But they're not there yet. So what a potential sign and trade would do for them is if the Bucks threw in, say, a second-round pick or 2 second-round picks with Brook Lopez, is, like I said, it gives them that expiring contract that expires at the end of next season. It gives you veteran leadership, championship pedigree, and, like I said, that expiring contract for a team that's not going to be ready to contend for anything yet.
Agreed.
Okay, I said I had one more forward left.
Okay.
And this also involves trading Brook Lopez, but it would be to the Los Angeles Clippers for another one of my non-Buck favorite players, is Robert Covington. Their money is almost exactly the same. And with the Clippers potentially getting Kawhi Leonard back, they have Norman Powell, they have Paul George. So that, that 2, 3, 4 area for the Clippers is kind of solved. Where their best, you know, center is Ivica Zubac, who actually has a player option. Either player option or club option, but he's their best center right now, and he is not a defender.
No.
So it actually could make sense for the Clippers to trade for Brook Lopez to have a defensive center. And then what Robert Covington would do would give the Bucks the opportunity to use Giannis at the center and have Robert Covington be able to be the other guy that can swarm around and play that defensive all over the place guy.
Mm-hmm. We're not going to get Bradley Beal.
He's going to want like $42 million.
And we would, that would be impossible. We're going to have to give up a shit ton. You're good. You're
basically,
would I love Bradley Beal in the Bucks? Yeah. It's just not going to happen. It's unrealistic.
Yeah, I mean, I don't see a scenario where you get Bradley Beal to take $15 million a season when he's going to want 2 or 3 times that.
Yeah, there's just, and we don't have bird rights on him, so we can't just give him, whatever the hell he wants. We have stipulations that we have to, abide by.
Right.
I got 2 more centers here. First of all, I have Mitchell Robinson as well. He only cost $1.5 million last year for a guy that blocks as many shots and rebounds as well as he does. A little under the radar. He'd be great, as the backup. And then my last one, this one I kind of just threw out there as well. I was like, flyer on JaVale McGee.
I did have him written down. I crossed him off, but I had him written down as well.
Flyer on McGee? Why not? He fucking runs the floor. He plays with energy. He blocks shots. I mean, I'm not saying that I want that. I mean, he costs $5 million and Bamba costs $6 million. So if you're gonna, be a number cruncher, which the Bucks have to be in this situation, I'm taking a flyer on Bamba because he can shoot, and I know that.
And he's younger.
Yeah. So I mean, in Bol, $2.1 million. So Bol is really, really cheap. Mitchell Robinson 1.5, like I said. So I mean, if you're really crunching numbers and you're looking at this stuff, Mitchell Robinson would be in the lead for me. Even age considering, a guy that can come in and just play defense, and we don't miss a beat. When Brook Lopez has to go out, you still got defense inside.
Yep.
Nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
We will get deeper into this.
Yes, I will give actual.
We will really look into this as we get closer to the Bucks.
Yeah.
Right now, it's a little tough.
Yep.
It's a little tough right now. Still stings a little bit.
Yep. We just wanted to throw some thoughts out there on some stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of soften the blow a little bit, because we posted it on our social medias that it sucks that the Bucks are out. Nobody's as disappointed as we are, because we enjoyed our first our first championship doing this show was the Bucks. Mm-hmm. So it was a bummer that it didn't happen again, but it's not going to happen every time. Obviously, we know that. To go from our second year of covering the Bucks on our show to winning a championship in the second season of us talking about the Bucks every Wednesday, it was fun, and we obviously wanted it to happen again. But a lot of the guys said in their exit interviews, I watched Chris Middleton, Bobby Portis, Grayson Allen, and Pat Connaughton's exit interviews this morning, and they just kept saying a lot of the same things, where it's like, it just wasn't our year. It felt like the Celtics' year, and that's kind of just how a lot of the guys felt. But Giannis is only 27, so that window is open for a while.
Yep.
And the Bucks will retool this roster. John Horst is a pretty good GM. He flipped John Horst flipped Sam Merrill and 2 second-round picks into Grayson Allen. He got 2 second-round picks back in the deal for Serge Ibaka. So who knows what he does with those 2 second-round picks? Whether he picks them, trades them. He's got a couple second-round picks sitting on the roster yet in Jordan Nwora and Mamu. I think they really like Mamu. I think they like the versatility that he brings. So I think he's probably sticking around. I don't know that I'd say it's a guarantee that Jordan Nwora is on the roster next year. I've seen a lot of people say, "Oh, put Jordan Nwora in the playoffs. He can't do worse than the guys that are out there." And it's like, yeah, he probably could. Jordan Nwora, he's unfortunately been turnover prone, which I wanted to see from year 1 to year 2 was to see Jordan Nwora make that jump to being more efficient. And actually, a lot of his shooting numbers went down from his rookie year to his second year. So I haven't, it's cool to see him score points once in a while, but it usually takes a lot of volume. I just don't see it as a guarantee that Jordan Nwora is on the roster next year.
Outside of the big three and probably Bobby and Pat, I would say it's pretty much open field for anybody. I would say Horst is going to do the best job that he can. Mm-hmm. I do like our roster. I like the foundation that we've built. Mm-hmm. I just think that we're maybe a player or two away. You add Chris Middleton. You add a point guard that can be a playmaker and add another shot blocker on this roster.
Yep.
And we're going to be right back in the Eastern Conference Finals next year. But we'll see what happens, man. We will see what happens.
Yeah, and next year's Miami Heat is not going to be the same team.
Nope.
Oladipo is probably going to be gone off that team. PJ Tucker might be back, but that team's going to look a lot different than it does this year.
I heard that Donovan Mitchell, if he gets traded, he said he wants to go to the Hawks or the Heat. That could really shake some shit up. Him with Young would be actually kind of disgusting. I'm not gonna lie.
Why? They're both ball dominant players. That'd be like putting James Harden and Russell Westbrook on the same team.
Yeah, but he plays with Clarkson, who can be ball dominant at times too.
He plays with Conley too, who's like a pure point guard. I never understood putting Conley and Donovan Mitchell on the same team. Honestly, like it worked at times, but I don't know. Donovan Mitchell feels more like a point guard than a shooting guard to me.
Yeah.
So, I don't know.
We'll see.
If he got sent to Miami for Kyle Lowry and something else, like that would be interesting. Putting Donovan Mitchell, Jimmy Butler, and Bam Adebayo on the same team.
That would be interesting.
All right, man. Like I said, we're gonna be saying bye to basketball for a while. But is there anything else you want to say before we move on to the Brewers?
Bucks in 6, baby. It is what it is.
They'll be back.
Yep.
Giannis said it. We're saying it. The Bucks will be back. All right, let's switch over to baseball because we have happier baseball this week than we did last week. Yeah. Especially with Keston Hira hitting that walk-off today, which is freaking awesome.
Hell yeah, baby.
But let's start with the Marlins series. So let's go to game 1 of that Marlins series.
Yeah, started out. Corbin Burns looked like Cy Burns. 7 innings pitched, 5 hits, only 1 earned run, no walks. I love to see the no walks. Yes. Walks is like the main stat I look at every time I look at the stats and I'm watching the game. 7 Ks. Williams came in, did his job. 2 Ks, no walks, no hits. He looked like Devin Williams. And Josh Hader did Josh Hader things. He just shuts the door. That's what he does. The Brewers ended up winning this one 2-1. They got 2 RBIs, 1 from Wong, 1 from Peterson. They got a home run from Wong to start this game in the first inning. So, all in all, they went on the road and they got a big-time win, which they really, really needed at this point in time.
Yeah, this was a pitcher's duel. Like, Pablo Lopez came into this game hot. His last outing was against the Padres. He pitched 8 scoreless innings in that game. And he came into this game. He gave up the leadoff home run to Colton Wong, and that was the only run he gave up. Pablo Lopez, Jake already mentioned Corbin Burns stats. Pablo Lopez pitched 7 innings, only gave up 3 hits, only the 1 earned run, struck out 11 batters. So Pablo Lopez did his thing too. Just a great pitcher's duel. I mean, Corbin Burns was using everything. Like, it feels like Corbin Burns has 5 pitches he can strike you out with.
Because he does.
I love that the Brewers are all like intermingling and teaching each other all of their best pitches. Mm-hmm. Like Corbin Burns using a curveball a bunch of times. Like, he was spiking curveballs a foot in front of the plate, and dudes were still swinging and missing at it. It's awesome. I love watching Corbin Burns pitch. Slider was absolutely nasty. The curveball was working for him. And then after the game, he's like, I wasn't really pleased with my performance. It's like, if Corbin Burns is mad on a day where he pitches 7 innings, gives up 1 earned run, and has 7 strikeouts, And he's like, yeah, I didn't really execute. I didn't have my best stuff. Um, Gave up a home run on a 1-2 count, and you could tell that he was mad about that. But like, he holds himself to such a high standard already after winning a Cy Young award. Like, oh man, Corbin Burns is going to be so good for a long time.
Yeah, and hopefully he's a Brewer for a long time.
Yeah. Jace Peterson RBI walk ended up being the difference in this game. Josh Hader's still perfect. Devin Williams, the changeup was looking nasty. My one complaint with this game, obviously, people complain about the offense, and they love complaining about the offense because people love to complain. But my one complaint with this game was they need to get the strikeouts down. 14 strikeouts in a game is a lot.
That's a lot.
So that's the thing that I'd like to see is just get the strikeouts down. I'd still like to see a little bit more aggression on the bases, just because I think that's an area where the Brewers could potentially try to get some more runs across. But it's hard enough to get guys on base, much less to make outs on the bases. So,
True.
Devin Williams only needed 12 pitches to get through the 8th. Josh Hader only needed 7 pitches to get through the 9th. So, that was the story for that. So, then we're flipping to Game 2. Game 2, Trevor Rogers was the starter in this one. He's better than his numbers suggest. He had a 2.64 ERA last season over 133 innings. So Trevor Rogers, it comes in with a high ERA, but he's better than his numbers suggest. So what did you see from Game 2 of the Marlins series?
Well, Lauer and Gott did not have their A stuff. Burns talked about how he didn't have his good stuff, but Lauer and Gott, they got hit around a little bit. Lauer gave up 4 earned runs, which isn't a ton, but from what we've seen and the potential of Eric Lauer, seems like this year, 0 walks and 7 Ks. So he still pitched a very, very good game. He gave you 5 innings, and that's all you really can ask. Gustave came in, he looked good. Milner looked good. I like Milner, by the way. I'm a fan of Milner.
He's pretty decent. He struggled a little bit at times last year, but he's got a little bit of a sidearm delivery that's just enough to throw batters off a little bit. But I'm with you on that.
We got so many guys that can come in, and he's kind of got that Brett Suter feel to him.
Mm-hmm.
Where like we got so many guys that can come in and just pump that shit up there, and with you got Devin Williams with the nasty change up, and Hader's out there, and you can't see the ball forever, and then all of a sudden it's coming at you at 98. And then Milner comes in, and it's a little different, man. I like it. That's a good change of pace.
Yep, the change of pace. Yep.
I think I'm gonna attach myself to Milner as the guy that I like. Kind of like I did with Tellez. I wanted to be a little bit different than everybody. But Renfroe, I gotta say, that was a good trade for us, man. He's been been pretty.
Yep.
I wanted to put positivity out there. I wrote down, talk about Renfroe because you said it before that people love to complain, so I wanted to bring a little bit more positivity. The Renfroe trade, that was a great trade for us, man. Gave us instant offense, and he made a crazy good catch today, by the way.
Yep, ran the wall.
Into the wall. In defense, offense, he tied the game. He's being a run producer for us. So, everything aside, everything that people want to complain about, and I know we lost this game 9-3. Renfroe still looked great. Adames also had a home run and an RBI. He just went on the 10-day today, so that kind of sucks. But Renfroe's look good, and it is what it is. It is, yeah. And if Adames didn't go on the 10-day today, who knows what happens?
It wouldn't have been here. Yep. So, stuff kind of works out. One thing I will say is I know that there's people out there that'll put on Facebook in the 6th inning, there's the dagger, there's the, there's the nail, the final nail in the coffin. Stop doing that before the games are over.
Seriously, dude.
Like when the game's over and it ends up working out, like game 5 did for the Bucks, where they were down 14 points with 9 minutes left and they came back and won. Or for the Brewers today when they were down 4-0, and then they end up winning 7-6.
Mm-hmm.
Like, just pump the brakes. Like, I know everybody gets anxious once in a while, but keep it off social media so people can't make fun of you afterwards.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to name names, but there's definitely a couple people on my friends list that are just like, they're so just shoot from the hip, and I used to be that way too, but now I process shit, and I let shit happen. I let it play out.
Let it be over.
And and I still don't make my immediate reaction after the game. I'll text you. I'll text my dad. I have my texting people that I talk to. But Then even after that, I like to digest, let it sit for a little bit, and then I'll make my analysis. Because that's the way that it should be. You don't want to shoot from the hip because you can make yourself look like a fool.
Well, that's the knee-jerk reaction. So that's one of the things that we don't do.
No.
We don't do knee-jerk reactions. We did some early thoughts on the retooling the Bucks roster, but we didn't say, oh, Grayson Allen sucked, trade him. Or we didn't say, Budenholzer didn't make adjustments in the second half of Game 7, fire him. Like, that's not where we're going with that. We actually, we're putting a little bit of thought into it, looking at some of the potential needs and some of the potential exits and departures from the team, or, where the team could get younger. Similar to just day by day. There is 162 games in the Major League Baseball season. And oh my God, it drove me insane that after 2 games in a lockout shortened spring training that people were like, oh my God, we need to trade Burns so we can get some value for him. It's the same people that wanted to trade Aaron Rodgers last year, or people that want to trade Middleton and Drew Holiday for Damian Lillard. Like, people, you just gotta chill out a little bit. Just like I want to talk about the Brewers offense after we get through the rest of these games, but like, just pump the brakes, just calm down a little bit, let the dust settle. Like, it's gonna be okay.
Yep.
And now the thing is the Brewers are 10 games over 500, but all they've done is play shitty teams. Like, the Brewers can't control who's on their schedule and when they're there.
Jesus Christ.
You play the team that is on your schedule. You can't control and be like, yeah, we're gonna put all the good teams early in the season, and if we're 20-10 after the first 30 games of playing all the teams that are really good, then we'll win the World Series. But like, it doesn't work that way. You play who's on your schedule. Having a good record is having a good record. It doesn't really fucking matter strength of schedule in baseball like it does in the NFL.
It doesn't even matter in the NFL.
More games in the Major League Baseball. There's like 10 times more games.
Yeah, that's crazy.
For people to be freaking out after one series and saying we need to trade people and fire counsel already, like, shit melts my mind. So
I can't imagine what their financials look like.
Long story short,
Eesh.
Calm down, let the dust settle. For me, what I like to do is I like to watch the games, and then I go back and watch highlights, and then I read about what the writers are saying. I go on Twitter a lot, and I read what a lot of the beat writers are saying, guys that are in the booths while they're watching the games. Mm-hmm. Like, I like to try to collect as much information as I can in addition to what I saw from the games, and put that out there, put a little bit of an optimistic spin on it, and toss it out here. Baseball is a statistic sport, and that's not changing.
Yeah.
It's not going to change. So, like I said, I'm going to talk a little bit about that when we get through the rest of these games. But like Jake said, Renfroe launched a late home run. Absolutely launched it. The one that Willie Adames was smoked too. But, the Brewers just came up a little bit short in that one. Let's look at the third game of this series. So I want to throw out a potential question. I don't know if anybody knows the answer to this, or if I'd have to look individually, game by game, team by team, to find out if there are any other teams that have a guy that batted leadoff and cleanup, because that's what Luis Urias did. Luis Urias has batted cleanup in the third game of this Marlins series. Michael said there's only 2 teams in the NL Central this year. Fortunately, the 2 teams are first and second, have enough talent to compete with all of the other top Major League Baseball teams. That's the thing. We get that the NL Central is weak, and we're going to spend a lot of time beating up on the Reds, Pirates, and Cubs. But, like, the Cardinals are a good team. The Brewers are a good team. It's not a huge deal that the Dodgers, Padres, and Giants are all good in the NL West. Because it didn't matter last year, because the Braves came out of the weak NL East and won the whole thing.
Yeah, it sure did.
So, you can play the, we're only beating bad teams card all you want, but you're beating teams. Wins count the same no matter who you're playing against or what their record is.
Dude, look at the Patriots. For 20 years, the AFC East was absolute dog shit. And I don't care what nobody says. The best team that they played against was the freaking Jets, and they were going 9-7. Don't give me this bull crap about how, it matters who you play. It don't freaking matter, okay? It It matters what you do when you get to that time when you have to make a play.
Winning's winning.
At the end of the day, the team that makes the play when you need a play wins the freaking game. That's just how it works. Look at the Celtics and the Bucks. The Celtics made shots. The Bucks did not. Point blank, period. That's just how it went. The Celtics made their shots. They made the play. The Bucks did not. We're sitting at home. The Celtics are down 0-1 in the Eastern Conference Finals.
And, the thing is, it didn't matter how many wins the Celtics had against teams above 500 during the NBA regular season. Nobody gave a shit when it was time to predict who was going to win Game 7.
Didn't matter. Didn't matter
Not at all.
All that mattered was that they absolutely dominated the Nets 4-0, and they were tied with the defending champs 3-3 with a home game.
Yep.
That's all that matters.
Yep. Yeah. So don't give me that. Yeah. Don't give me that crap about you're only beating up on bad teams, or you're only beating AAA teams. No, you're beating who's on your schedule, and the wins count the same.
Yeah. We still get one win, so I don't give a shit.
Yeah. The wins count the same too if you win 2-1 or 10-0.
Exactly. So I don't want to hear nothing about run differential either. I don't give a shit about no run differential.
Stupid stat, honestly. But I
understand the point for it, but it doesn't matter. The Brewers won how many games? They won 2-1, and then they won 7-3. They got a 1-0 win. Come on now. We just won by 1 run today. Does that win not matter as much as a win that we win by 5 runs? No, it's still a win.
Yep. All right, let's talk about that third game of that series where Luis Urias was batting cleanup.
Woody was very good. But the guy I really want to talk about was Ashby. He was a stud. He had 4 innings pitched, no hits, no runs, no walks, 8 Ks, dude. The guy was on fire. He was a man. We had the bats going a little bit. We had 3 home runs. Tellez, my boy, let's go, baby. Colt Long, Peterson also had home runs. They both had their 3rd. Tellez got his 8th home run that we're at this point here. Wong, Peterson, and Navarez all had an RBI. Tellez and your boy, I always say your boy, Urias, both had 2 RBIs. So, all in all, the Brewers are one of the best teams in the NL at the end of the day. It doesn't matter. If we can get Ashby, we're going to be dangerous. That's all I'm going to say.
Yeah. Yeah, and I'm reading a lot of things about Ethan Small potentially getting called up soon because he's tearing up. He's tearing up AAA. He is lighting it up down there. So the Brewers being shorthanded in the bullpen because J.C. Mayo was suspended for 80 games, which honestly I'm not super concerned about because he wasn't very good anyways.
Mm-hmm.
So you don't want to see guys getting suspended for taking performance-enhancing drugs, but the loss isn't super deeply felt there as it is for a Jake Cousins who's injured right now. So Ethan Small could potentially be looking at a bullpen role soon. Interesting prospect because
let's do it.
He is tearing up AAA, like sub-1 ERA in AAA.
I'm ready. I'm ready. Let's do it.
Jake touched on Colt Long a little bit. I think we're going to talk about him a little bit more in another segment. But you mentioned it too with Ashby. The thing with him was that his slider was good, is that his fastball was under control. The thing that Jake didn't mention with his 8 Ks is 0 walks.
I thought I did. My bad.
If you did and I didn't notice, that's my bad. But I'm going to say it again because it's important.
It is.
I talked about it last week that in 3 of his previous 4 appearances, he'd given up at least 4 walks. This game, 4 innings pitched, 0 walks, 0 hits, and the 8 strikeouts in those 4 innings. And then the Brewers as a team, only 6 strikeouts. Perfect. Only 6 strikeouts. Putting the ball in play, that's what you want to do as a team instead of striking out. I don't know. I guess the Cubs are only like a shortstop away from contention if you ask some of their fans. All right.
And their offense is good.
Yeah. All right. Let's flip to the Braves series. Let's start with the first game.
Yeah, my boy. Freddie fastball, Fred flow, feeling baby. 7 innings, 2 hits, 0 earned runs, 10 Ks to 1 walk. I
Yeah.
mean, the Brewers did an awesome job controlling the walks for the most part this week, in my opinion.
Yep.
And they were just mowing people down. Williams and Hader, both 3 Ks, 0 walks each for them. 0 hits, 0 earned runs on top of that as well. We got our 1 run on a wild pitch. And we won the game 1-0.
All it takes.
That's all it takes. Exactly. That's what I was gonna say.
That's what dominating pitching can do for you, is win you a game 1-0 that you scored on a wild pitch.
I'm not gonna lie. It hurts a little bit because this is kind of what I thought would happen in the playoffs, is we were gonna have some really tight, close games, like a 1-0, 2-1 games. It's obviously not what happened, but the Brewers winning games against them is something that is good for their psyche, so it's a good thing. And Freddie Peralta, man, he's starting to put it together. Stat of the week, if you didn't check our page, stat of the week was about Freddie Peralta been absolutely dominating.
So mine was about Josh Hader, who was dominant too, and he still is.
He's the man, dude.
Oh man, Josh Hader's awesome. I love Josh Hader.
Yeah, he is.
Freddie Peralta has had some first inning struggles. In this game, he had the bases loaded in the bottom of the first inning. Or not. No, that was the Brewers at the bottom of the first inning, was bases loaded with 2 outs. Freddie Peralta in the top of the first inning gave up a single and a walk with 2 outs. And then Jace Peterson made a diving catch down the third baseline to end that inning. So Freddie Peralta, he's had a little bit of trouble in some first innings, but other than that, he was lights out.
Mm-hmm.
Like Jake said, the 10 strikeouts, only 2 hits and 1 walk. Urias was 2 for 3 and a walk. Hunter Renfroe had a hit and a walk. Jace Peterson and Lorenzo Cain each had a hit, and the only run, like Jake said, was scored on the wild pitch. So Freddie Peralta had 16 swing and misses in this game. 16! That was the most in Major League Baseball on that day. 16 swing and misses. That was awesome. I gotta save this. I gotta save it. Let's talk about the second game of the Braves series from last night.
All right. Hauser, I don't know what's going on, man, but he just doesn't have it all. I mean, he wasn't horrible, but he had 0 earned runs. We lost this game 3-0. 6 innings, 4 hits, no earned runs. He had 2 walks with the 6 Ks. The reason why we lost this game, in my opinion, was the 0 for 5 runners in scoring position and 10 players left on base.
Yep.
That's something that can't happen if you're going to win in the playoffs. You have to find a way to get people in. But Boxberger gave up a massive 2-run homer late in this game. But it happens, man. Boxberger's been everything. I mean, if he has 1 bad outing out of 10, I will take that, honestly, because he really is shut down when he comes in. But, sometimes you get got. In the smart words of Marshawn Lynch, baby.
Trevor Gott was painting corners last night. Oh, man, he looked good.
Might have been. You son of a bitch.
Boxberger, he was on a 3-2 count with 2 outs on that pitch, too, that got hit out. So, guys getting down to their last strikes. It's just that's execution 100%. But with this, sucks. Renfroe barely missed a 2-run home run. Just half a smidge foul. Similar to the one that Ozuna hit, but stayed inside the foul pole. Jake mentioned the 10 stranded runners, the 10 runners left on base. Oh, man, this sucks. With 2 outs, the Brewers had runners in scoring position in the 3rd, 4th, 5th, 7th, and 8th innings. Didn't play any runs. Oh, man, that sucks.
Man.
Oh, that sucks.
It's all right. It's all right.
It is all right. I mean, we know, we had the benefit of hindsight knowing that the Brewers ended up winning today. Going into today, the Brewers had been 4-8 against left-handed pitching with a .72 ERA against left-handed pitching. The Brewers had faced 12 left-handed starters. The Brewers have scored 2 runs, was the most that they scored against left-handed pitchers, and they did it twice. Starting left-handed pitching had a 1.40 ERA against the Brewers coming into today.
Jesus.
And they scored all their runs late today, too. So, let's talk about today's game. A little bit that we didn't reveal from having it happen live during the show. But, let's talk about today.
All right, you start. I don't have anything written down, so I
So,
gotta.
the thing with today really was Corbin Burns had 2 pitches that screwed him. He was really doing well. He had 2 outs, and give up a hit by a pitch, a single, and back-to-back home runs, and that's where all 4 of the runs that he gave up came from today. Brewers grabbed 2 in the 4th inning. They grabbed 1 in the 6th, 1 in the 9th to tie it, and then it went 1-1, 1-1, and then the Brewers went 1-1, 1, and then 2. Keston Hiura hit the walk-off home run. Actually, it said that Keston Hiura said that he was basically like on his deathbed last night. He felt like because he was so sick. So people were questioning why he didn't have like a super enthusiastic run around the bases, and it said because he felt really sick like last night. So he said he felt like he was on his deathbed a little bit, and then today he's hitting a walk-off home run. So that's Keston Hiura's flu game right there, hitting a walk-off.
Oh
wow. Josh Hader wasn't available today because they said he had to leave early to tend to a family situation. So that's why Hobie Milner was pitching in the 10th inning. You want to know something interesting?
I always like interesting stuff.
Ethan Small was scratched from his start in AAA today.
Uh-oh. He's getting called up. 100%. He's getting
Brewers
called up.
have 19 games in the next 18 days and no off days. Oh, boy. Ethan Small might be on his way to the Brewers.
Yep, it's happening. It's happening for sure.
So, Colton Long rips a triple in the bottom of the 9th to tie this game up. Like I said, the Brewers went 1-1, 1-2 to get the win. I'm so excited that Ethan Small might be up to the Brewers. That's exciting. Is there anything that you wanted to say about today? I mean, Trevor Gott was back doing his awesome stuff. He had the one bad outing, and now he's had back-to-back really dominant outings. Devin Williams had a good outing today. He's been better since he had the game that he struggled a few weeks ago. It was a little over a week ago, but Devin Williams is looking good. Trevor Gott's looking really good. That looks like another David Stearns wizardry pickup.
Yeah.
To grab a guy, toss him in, and be like, here you go, and then to have him pitch as well as Trevor Gott has. Trevor Gott has retired 12 of the first 14 batters that he's faced. Opponents are batting 9 for 48 against him. That's a 188 batting average against Trevor Gott.
Oh, baby. Dude, the Brewers pitching coach is similar to the Packers offensive line coach. You just know that we're going to get pitching. And on the Packers, we're just going to take these guys off the street. We're going to take these 7th-round picks, 5th-round picks, and we're just going to turn them into really, really good players. That's just how it works.
So, it was really cool to see, too, to get Keston Hiura some redemption because in the bottom or the top of the 11th, there was a double play ball. The throw was a little high by Colton Long, but Keston Hiura wasn't able to reel it in. It went off the top of his glove. The error was charged to Colton Long, but in that situation, Keston Hiura's got to jump and keep that ball in his glove because when that ball trickled away, that's what allowed the run to score. So it was nice to see Keston Hiura kind of get some redemption there and hit the walk-off home run. So that's where the Brewers stand today. They are off tomorrow with the Brewers looking at what's coming ahead. Willie Adames was placed on the 10-day injured list. It was retroactive to Monday, so he will be available as early as next Thursday. So with the off day tomorrow, he's really only going to miss like 6 more games. McCutcheon's probably going to be activated tomorrow. They reevaluated him today, said he wasn't really ready yet today, so they didn't activate him for today's game, but he will probably be activated tomorrow, and then he'll be available to play on Friday when the Brewers start a 3-game series with the Nationals, and then Monday they start a 3-game series at San Diego. I will be at Saturday's game. Courtney and I are going. They have the 90s night after Saturday night's game, so Courtney and I will be there for that, but let's do the fun stuff. So we have a pitcher and a positional player for our power. I don't know if you want to do the positional player or if you want to do the pitcher first.
Let's
Yes,
do pitcher
Tim.
first.
Willie Adames bobblehead day is on Sunday. That's on May 22nd. That's Willie Adames Day. That's the day we got Willie Adames. So that's why his
Yep,
bobblehead is on Sunday. That's Willie Adames Day.
Yes, sir.
All right, pitcher first. I have a
Let's
feeling
start
that
with
we have
pitcher.
the same.
Want me to-
Yeah, I have a feeling we have the same one.
Okay. I don't think we do. My pitcher is going to be Freddie Peralta.
Yeah, we have the
Is
same.
that the
one.
same? Okay, yeah. Freddie Peralta was just brilliant.
I got some
dude.
juicy stuff that I didn't share yet. Oh, I'm excited.
You know what? I should have known that we had the same one because you were like, gotta save it. But dude, 10 Ks, 1 walk, 7 innings. I mean, against the defending champs to get that big momentum win, like I said, good for the psyche. That's something that was really, really big. And, he needed a good outing against a good team, I think.
Yeah. So Freddie Peralta was our stat of the week for Jake this week. His last 5 starts before Game 1 of the Braves series, he's 3-0 with a 1.57 ERA, 38 strikeouts, 6 walks. His opponents were batting 168 against him, and he reached 500 career strikeouts. What I left out of that is that he did reach he reached the 500 strikeouts faster than Pedro Martinez by a lot.
Whoa, there you go.
Freddie Martinez needed 510 innings to reach 300 strikeouts. Freddie Peralta did it in 372 and a third.
Whoa.
Yeah.
That is much faster.
Yeah. Just a little bit. Yeah. So, that's 127 and 2/3 innings less for Freddie Peralta to reach 500 career strikeouts.
Pretty good, I'd say. Pretty good. He's our third best pitcher.
That is awesome. Yeah, exactly. Our third best pitcher is on a faster strikeout pace than Pedro Martinez.
Yeah, I'll take that to the bank every Sunday. All right, let's go with positional players here.
Yeah, I know we have the same one for this one too.
Do we? Oh,
yeah.
Man. Yeah, I picked Colt Long.
I couldn't pick anybody else because of the game that he had against the Marlins.
Yup, that was the exact reason I did it too, because he had 3 walks. That 3-walk game was massive. And he was 2 for 2, 2 runs and an RBI in that game.
You know what that game was?
What's that?
That was his 1,000th career game.
Oh, yeah.
And he reached base all 5 times.
That's crazy. I love Colt Long. And part of the reason that I did this, and this might sound funny to some people, I feel like we, because we have good vibes, we give good energy, and we give good luck, So, we talked about Rowdy Tellez and Adames, and all of a sudden they just went crazy.
Yeah, they both went nuts.
So now we're both going to talk about Colt Long, and, we're going to have Adames missing. So hopefully Colt Long is a guy that could step his game up, with Adames. I mean, it's not a long, drought that he's going to be out, but, hopefully Colt Long can ball out for a couple games here. And then I texted you, I was like, dude, I have Colt Long for my power pair, and then he hits the triple,
the game-tying triple today.
But he was 4-14. He had 4 walks, 2 RBIs, 3 runs. But, he's just consistent. He always plays that defense.
Yep.
He was a little high on the throw, but it's like, as the first baseman, you also have to help out your guy. Mm-hmm. And normally, Keston's not a normal first baseman, so normally they're a little bit bigger, a little bit longer. So, it is what it is. But Colt Long is a Gold Glove player on defense, and he can bat. He can rake,
that's Keston here trying to make a play. So Keston here is trying to bring that ball down to make that double play, not thinking in the back of his mind that, if this ball drops, a run's going to score.
Yeah.
He's thinking, let's get these 2 outs and get out of this inning.
Yeah.
Not so much thinking that, let's get this out. We'll have runners up first and third with 2 outs. Keston here is trying to end the inning on that play. It's one of those situations where you don't fault effort. So, you say, hey, Keston, we know you're trying to make a play. This is what you got to do in one of those situations. Michael Long is one of the most consistent offensive and defensive players I've seen in recent years. That is absolutely true. Colton Long is Gold Glove level defender, and you can stick him in your leadoff every day and feel comfortable with it.
But you know what else, goes along with that double play, and this is why we're so big on walks. If they wouldn't have walked the first batter, we wouldn't have been in that situation anyways. But it's, that's nitpicking. It is what it is.
All right, so I want to throw something out there because there's There's so many, so many complaints about the Brewers offense still, even though they are, I think, 11 or 12 games over 500 now after today.
I think we're 10.
Oh, I thought it was more than that.
We're 24 and 14.
24 and 14?
I'm looking at.
Okay. Does that include today?
Yep. 24 and 14.
Okay. So 24-14, 10 games over 500, and then you either get the people saying, "Oh, we only won 2-1 or 1-0." Today it was 7-6. In addition to fire council, the Brewers don't have enough offense. The Brewers strike out too much. This guy sucks. This guy's washed. This guy's not worth his contract. All of this. The Brewers need to trade this person, and this person. We need to get rid of this person, and this person, and this person. All of that. Or, the Brewers finally win a game like 7-6, and then it's like, oh, it's just the Braves who are 2 games under 500 or whatever, even though the Braves just won the freaking World Series.
They sucked in the first half of the year last year, too.
Yeah.
The Braves did.
So did the Celtics.
Yeah. True.
Again, doesn't matter who you win against as long as you win. Yeah. So I want to throw something out there for the people saying they want the Brewers to play small ball, because I keep seeing that so much. Like, why don't the Brewers play more small ball, get guys on base and bunt them over? Brewers have hard enough time getting guys on base anyways without making 3 outs, and now you want to just give the other team additional outs just for free?
Yeah.
In the sake of moving guys 90 feet closer? When currently the Brewers are 18th in batting average. They are 7th in slugging and 4th in home runs.
It's not bad.
Now, let me just give you a hypothetical situation here. Let's say you have a guy on first base with 1 out. Sure, you can bunt him over. Let's say it's Luis Urias and Hunter Renfroe is on deck. And Christian Yelich is on first base. Sure, you could say, let's play small ball. We'll use Luis Urias to bunt over Christian Yelich to second base, and then we'll have Hunter Renfroe up with 2 outs and a guy in scoring position. Just mentioned with the game last night, the Brewers had guys in scoring position with 2 outs in the 3rd, 4th, 5th, 7th, and 8th innings, and they didn't score any runs. And now you're going to put yourself in that position with 2 outs and a runner in scoring position where you haven't potentially scored a ton of runs.
Mm-hmm.
Now, here's my hypothetical. What if Hunter Renfroe hits a home run? What benefit did you get at all from bunting the runner over?
0.
The potential of having Luis Urias hit a single and have Yelich go from first to third or even from first to second, and then that 2-run home run becoming a 3-run home run and still only having 1 out. That's the game the Brewers are playing. That's the game the Brewers are playing up here. If the Brewers were 25th in home runs, sure, I could see saying, let's play some small ball. The Brewers are 4th in home runs, 7th in slugging, but 18th in batting average, and you want to give the other team free outs by doing shit like bunting? No, the Brewers are not going to play small ball. The Brewers are going to try to have plate discipline, which they struggle with at times. They need to get the strikeouts down. But they're going to try to get guys on base, and they're going to try to hit home runs and drive guys in. The Brewers, they're not going to play small ball. I'm sorry. They're not. Statistically and mathematically, it makes 0 sense.
I mean, does anybody play small ball anymore, really, except for situational?
I mean, unless you have, like, really specific roster construction that is built for that, like the Miami Marlins, I would say, because Jazz Chisholm is one of those guys where he gets on base and he's twitchy, and it's like, okay, you got to keep really close attention on him. But there's not that many guys in the league anymore. Just like stealing bases. Like, yeah, it's cool when it happens, but it's not a really high percentage thing that really benefits you in a lot of ways. And again, 4th in home runs. Doesn't matter what base you're standing at when a home run gets hit, but it matters how many guys are on the bases when you hit them.
That's true.
So if you're gonna give teams free outs by just tapping bunts to move a guy from first to second or second to third for your next guy to just hit a home run when you could have had an extra guy on base and one less out. Why would you not want that?
We are definitely analytics guys. I'll say that right now. We are definitely analytics guys.
Yeah, I give the statistic that is most prevalent in these discussions and situations is expected runs. So, the expected runs from a guy on first base with no outs is higher than the runs expected with a guy on second base and one out. So, the opportunity to score more runs is always going to be the situation you want to be in than trying to just score one run. Or when you have guys that can hit home runs. Like, that's where the Hunter Renfroe trade benefits the Brewers massively. The dude already has, 8 home runs? 9?
I think it's 9.
How many did Jackie Bradley hit all of last year?
I
8?
I think Adames and Renfroe are tied for the team lead with 9.
Yeah, and Rowdy has 8.
Yep. Oh, shit.
Yelich,
we're the Yankees in Wisconsin. Let's go. Yankees West, baby.
Yelich has 5. Colton Long has 2 or 3.
3. Peterson has 3.
Peterson has 3. I think Urias has 1, but he spent the first month on the injured list.
Yeah. No, you might have 2, actually.
I know Tyrone Taylor only has 1. Omar has 1 or 2. So, I mean, Keston has a couple now.
He mashed that one today, dude.
Yeah, he did.
He got
straight away center
all
off
of that
the scoreboard.
Yeah, he got all of that one.
And yes, Michael, that's basically what it comes down to, is rising to the occasion. I said this a couple weeks ago, is the Brewers, they don't have necessarily a problem getting hits. They have a problem stringing hits together.
Yeah.
That's the perfect example is last night where they had guys on base in scoring position 5 different times with 2 outs, and they couldn't plate those guys.
Mm-hmm.
That's how you lose a game 3-0.
Yep.
And yes, there is a time for small ball, but speed. Like I said, roster construction plays a huge part in that. If you have a team that's built for small ball, a team of a bunch of fast guys that can put the ball in play and take some extra bases with their speed, but they're not going to hit a lot of home runs. Like if you have 9 Gene Seguras on your team, you can play small ball.
Gene Segura.
But I mean, if you have Willie Adames and Christian Yelich and Rowdy Tellez and Hunter Renfroe on your team, what benefit does it have for you to have a guy from first to second and an extra out?
I agree.
Give me first and second with 1 out, and let's turn that 2-run home run into a 3-run home run. So I got really super deep on that, but all the complaining about the offense when this is what the Brewers do. This is how the Brewers are built. They're going to try to put a couple guys on base, and then they're going to try to hit a home run. Like I said,
that's how baseball works now.
Fourth in Major League Baseball in home runs. That's not 4th in the National League. That's 4th in Major League Baseball. I do agree, Michael, that the Cardinals are built for a combination of both. They got some speed guys and then some power guys.
Mm-hmm.
Some guys that do both. Like Nolan Arenado, for example, he can kind of do both. I was surprised to see Paul DeJong not doing so well after being an all-star 2 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
Anyways, back to the Brewers. 4th in home runs, 7th in slugging, 18th in batting average. Why are you going to try to give the other team extra outs?
Don't know. Doesn't make sense to me either.
All right, that was my piece. I don't know if you have anything else you want to say.
That was very well put together. I think you covered all the bases.
Oh, well played.
I'm getting better. Baby. Woo!
Right, that was a good one.
That felt good. I was cooking that up in here, baby.
Well played. That was well played.
But on a serious note, I think you did cover everything. Baseball is there's high strikeout numbers because there's a lot of people hitting home runs. If the Brewers can just up that average, get up into the top 12, top 10,
I mean,
we'll be just fine.
That goes along with just putting the ball in play.
Yeah, we will be just fine. The way that our pitching works, we can compete with anybody. If we start hitting the baseball like we probably should be, I mean, we haven't really had a perfectly healthy roster all year. We've had this guy out, and then this guy's out, and then this guy comes back, and then this guy goes out. So once we put it all together, I like our roster. I think we can play with anybody. But yeah, other than that, no, I think you did a really good job putting that all together, man.
All right, bud. Well, it is worth noting that today is not our last episode of the week.
No, sir.
We got a bonus episode coming up this Friday. I know some of the people that have been in the comments section, Chelsea for sure is excited for it. Friday, we're doing our next bonus episode. We are doing Green Bay Packers trivia / drinking game.
Let's go, baby.
Yours truly is hosting. I will be reading the questions. I will also be part of the drinking game. I just won't be drinking for getting questions wrong. But, we got a list of words that are part of the drinking game. Somebody says it, you drink, and then getting questions wrong. And whoever gets the most questions right each round gets to assign drinks to people. So, Packers trivia and drinking game is going to be a lot of fun. That's coming up on Friday. And Jake and I, this is a little bit of a spoiler alert on some news that we're probably going to be able to fully reveal next week. But Jake and I are also starting a blog with two friends of ours, Simon and Bryant. It's going to be called Wisco Confidential. We have one article already released by Bryant, who was very eager to get going on it. So we appreciate him for that. So that's going to be tied to a new sponsor of the show that we will have revealed fully next week when we have all the details ironed out and stuff. So we're very excited to reveal that as well. And we'll probably fully roll that out next week. But we are also starting a blog that kind of ties into our show a little bit and some of the things that we think and talk about. So we're excited for that too.
I think the potential for this blog is, I don't know what the potential is. It's it's kind of everywhere, man. But I love the idea of everything that we've talked about. I love how it's coming about. I love the structure that we're building. If you guys watched our live episode during the draft, Brian and Simon joined us for that.
Two. Yep, those are the two guys that are going to be writing with us.
So if you're looking to put faces to names, those are the two people. I respect both of their opinions. They both know their stuff. When it comes to the Packers, we don't like the same baseball or football team, so that's why they're not joining us for that.
Simon lives in Texas, and he's a fan of here, and here. Kind of like some of our other friends that we have. But and then I think Bryant, I don't know if he lives in Minnesota, but he's a fan of some other Minnesota teams. So I know he's a Twins and Wild fan. I don't know about basketball,
but he is a Packers fan, so at least he got smart.
They're both Packers fans. Yep,
they're both Packers fans. So
so those two will probably be putting Packers content together for us. The four of us are going to collectively put some stuff together. And then between Jake and I, we're going to try to also pick out some other content for the Packers and the Bucks and the Brewers and the Badgers. So we're excited. Good news on the Badgers.
Did you see who they just signed for basketball?
Gus Bus.
Bro, you watch his highlight videos?
I haven't.
Bro, he looks like a
football player.
He's smooth as hell. He's called Baby Jokic, dude.
Really?
Dude, he's got handles. He can finish. There's one video where it starts out and he just blocks the hell out of a shot. And I'm like, Jokic doesn't do that. Why is he called Jokic? But no, the handles and the ability for him to run the floor as the big man, that's gonna be massive. Yeah, he's super, super smooth. He's gonna be great for the Badgers. So maybe we can dive in. That could be something that we write about. I don't know.
Oh yeah.
Or I'm just spitballing here, kind of out loud. We can do something, get people excited about this Badgers football team coming up pretty soon here. We got some stuff to look forward to.
Oh yeah. That's the nice thing about our show being all Wisconsin sports and not just being a Bucks show or a Packers show or a Brewers show. You can get it all in one place here from the same guys. You don't have to have 5 different podcasts that you listen to for all your favorite teams. You get a one-stop shop here. But Jake and I are also have been kicking around the idea of adding a second show during Packers season and having, keeping the Wednesday show. And when Packers season rolls around, doing just Packers shows on Friday nights. Just because we feel the Packers are they're such an attention getter that we want to be able to devote as much time to them as we feel we can to still put out good content with it and be able to talk about it for however long we end up talking about it. And we feel that we're putting out good content without having to sacrifice the quality of talking about the Bucks, who will start during Packers season, the Badgers, who will start during Packers season, and the Brewers, who could potentially still be playing during Packers season.
Yep.
And then on top of that, Badger football that rolls over with a lot of Packers season. So, when we have 2, 3, 4 teams going on all at once, the one that ends up taking the longest to talk about is the Packers. So we want to kind of just give them their own space and, be able to have that and not sacrifice the quality of any of our content.
I agree. I think that's a great idea. It's definitely something we talked about for a while. We just didn't have the following or the format to do it correctly. But, it feels like things are falling into place. So we got a lot of exciting things happening over here. We are putting in the work. We appreciate everybody that shows up every week and comments. Yes. If we're doing something wrong, if there's something that we're not doing correctly, something that you'd like to see differently, please tell us, because we are open to constructive criticism. We're here to please you guys. We're having fun on the way, but I'm really, really looking forward to this bonus episode this week, dude. I've been thinking about it for like a month. I'm so excited.
This is the book right here.
I'm a little nervous, but
Team Trivia, Green Bay Packers, the Ultimate Gridiron Challenge. That is the book that are coming out of here.
Who the hell? Who's the song that says "Blame it on the alcohol"? Blame it on the.
That's Jamie Foxx and T-Pain.
Okay, well, whoever said it, if I get a question wrong, I'm pulling a Jamie Foxx. Okay.
You just blaming it on the alcohol. Up and ready to go. I'm gonna look it up because I want to make sure that I have that right. I'm pretty sure it's
definitely Jamie Foxx. I don't know the other one in there though.
Yeah.
Have you thought about possibly doing some primetime shows?
Primetime how?
Yeah.
Question there.
See, so Friday night, we're thinking about going live at 7, 8 o'clock?
8 o'clock, yeah.
8 o'clock, so that's pretty prime time to me. 8 o'clock on a Friday night.
Definitely prime time, yeah. If you're asking for people's first weekend night, that's some prime time.
Yeah, that's a big commitment.
We're asking for people's attention when they could be going to do stuff. But that's just during Packers season that we're going to do every Friday night. Once Packers season is over, then we're going to go back to our monthly bonus episodes. And then we'll have, once a month on Friday nights will be our bonus episodes. And then during Packers season, back to every Friday night during Packers season. So I think that's how we're gonna run it. So we're gonna have Wisco Fanatic Wednesdays and Wisco Fanatics Fridays.
And when we say 8 o'clock, we mean god dang 8 o'clock,
yes.
Okay? We will be there at 8 o'clock.
Yep.
We are not messing around with this. It's something that we actually love, something that we actually care about. It's something that we're actually trying to build. So when we say 8 o'clock on Friday, we're there at 8 o'clock. When we say 4 o'clock on Wednesday, we're here at 4 o'clock. That's just how it works.
Yep, you can count on us to be on time. Because, we say it, we mean it, that's when we're starting. And, we're going to have it ready to go. We're going to have the discussion points ready to go. That's with Simon and Bryant are two guys that we're looking at bringing in to join us on those Friday night shows because we appreciate their perspective and because we preach that so much of taking those different perspectives. So we want to give more perspectives because we do believe that those two know what they're talking about and can thrive in a structure like ours, where we structure out the topics and things like that and what we talk about. So it'll continue to be Jake and I just on Wednesdays, and then Fridays during Packers season we're going to bring in Simon and Bryant when they're available. And just keep giving the perspective and taking all these sports teams that we love so much and trying to put an optimistic spin and a positive spin on them so that people can take that optimistic thought process with their teams, put it out to other people, and hopefully put it into their lives and start getting people to take that positive and optimistic spin in their lives, not just looking at their sports teams. So that's ultimately what Jake and I are trying to do. So
yes,
we appreciate people that stick with us and appreciate what we're doing because that means a lot to us.
Yes, it does. With that being said, I'm going to go hang out with my family. Sounds like my girlfriend's having a hell of a time with that baby upstairs. So I'm going to go calm this baby down. I'm not actually going to, but I have to beat my stepson because his mom keeps yelling at him. And then I got to cook dinner. So
all right.
I don't give a comment, but I will hear both of you guys are doing an awesome job. Thank you, Michael. I really, really appreciate that, man. it's a lot of sacrifice, man. A guy who just had a baby, myself. Tyler has 2 kids. I also have a 9-year-old working a full-time job. I mean, I got some funky hours I'm working. Tyler just got a new job. That's really, really benefiting him. I'm going to be doing that pretty soon. But it's a lot of sacrifice, but it's something that's worth it to me.
I quit playing 2 sports to devote more time and energy to this.
Yeah, didn't even think about that, man. Yeah, think about that. I mean, I paid $600 for my Xbox, and I play it maybe once a week now. Maybe.
Me too.
And that's crazy to me. A guy that every day, that was the thing I looked forward to for most of my 20s was, all right, when I'm done with work, I'm going to go play some Xbox. Go play Xbox. And now it's maybe once a week. That's crazy. But
you're growing up. I'm gonna bring a tear to my eye.
That's
Jake's growing up now.
That's grown man stuff right there, baby. Michael, honestly, bottom of my heart, I appreciate that. I really do.
All right. We hope everybody else that's listening, watching, tuning in, whether it's on Facebook or YouTube, or whether you're listening to the podcast later on, or watching us live, or watching us later. We appreciate it, and we hope you'll tell people so they can come and watch us too and hang out with us in the comments too. That's why we do the show live, so we can interact with people, so we can have that genuineness. So that's why we do the show live. So Tim's been with us for a long time. I see Tim in the comments.
Tim's a goddamn OG on the Wisco Fanatics page, baby.
Yeah. He's been with us back since the beginning.
Hell yeah, he has. When we had 40 followers.
We only had 40 followers. Yeah, Taylor's been with us for a long time too. Taylor likes the show. He said Taylor said that we are his favorite podcast a couple weeks ago. So
hey,
you can never take
love,
that away from
baby. That's love. That is
I don't
love.
care if you get another favorite podcast, Taylor. Well, you said that to us once, and that's getting framed, and it's going to go right here.
And I hope you said that to us first, because then we can always be first. Let's go.
All right, man. Well, I will see you Friday night for the bonus episode.
All right. Peace out, my man. Everybody have fun. Be safe.